Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Source 16 News at 10. Thanks for joining us. New this hour, 3 adults and a child were transported to a local hospital after a head-on collision this afternoon in northern Christian County near Crofton. 33-year-old Christina Childress of Nortonville was driving north on US 41A Madisonville Road when state police say her Nissan Pathfinder began to hydroplane near Covered Wagon Road, causing her to lose control and enter the southbound lane and crash head-on into a Nissan Frontier driven by 70-year-old Carl Ramey of Hopkinsville. Childress and her passenger, an unidentified 3-year-old girl of Nortonville, and Ramey and his passenger, 29-year-old Holly Wood of Hopkinsville, were all transported by Hopkinsville EMS to Jenny Stewart Medical Center for treatment of their injuries. State police were assisted at the scene by the Christian County Sheriff's Department, Hopkinsville Fire and Rescue, and the Crofton Fire Department. Also new this hour, a trial date has been set for a Fort Campbell soldier accused of butchering and killing his wife's dog. A Christian County Circuit Court judge today scheduled a January 19th trial date for Mark Staley of Hopkinsville, who is charged with 1 count of torturing a dog with serious physical injury or death. Court records indicate the 20-year-old Army veteran was released into the custody of the military on May 27th after he posted his $1,000 bond. In addition, court records indicate the military will be responsible for Staley's mental treatment. Hopkinsville police arrested the 42-year-old soldier on December 27th of last year after Staley's wife told police he skinned her dog and gave it to her in a bag. A Nashville woman accused of attacking Hopkinsville Mayor Dan Kemp's wife, Henrietta, appeared today in Christian County Circuit Court. Judge Andrew Self scheduled a July 27th pretrial conference for 51-year-old Lori Ann Little to allow attorneys on both sides to send and receive all records necessary for Little to complete her mental evaluation at the Kentucky Correctional Psychiatric Center. According to Judge Self, the court has not received medical records from Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and he was not sure why documents have not been sent since it was requested nearly a month ago. Meanwhile, Self requested Commonwealth's attorney Lynn Pryor to get an affidavit.
All right. Ms. Pryor, then if you could obtain an affidavit from the school board member identified by Ms. Little in response to item number 13 in Dr. Cooley's initial letter, and also if you could obtain some kind of statement from the school board as referenced in item number 14 indicating that the Kemps were somehow expressing an intention to homeschool a daughter. There's any information the school board has with regard to that.
As we previously reported, Little was arrested on December 16th after police say she forced her way inside the Kemp residence and physically attacked the mayor's wife. A former Christian County jail bookkeeper who is facing multiple counts of felony theft charges also appeared in court today. Judge Andrew Self scheduled a pretrial conference for September 7th for Honey Darlene Summers, who is facing 4 counts of theft by unlawful taking offenses. A special prosecutor, Gail Gouling, was appointed to this case due to possible conflicts of interest. Meanwhile, Judge Self told both attorneys he would hate to see this case go on too long. According to court records, Summers is accused of stealing $40,000 between 2004 and 2007 while she was employed as an administrative assistant under former jailer and current sheriff Livy Level. As we previously reported, the former bookkeeper was charged after a 3-year investigation revealed the funds were missing from a jail account. A 21-year-old Clarksville man has died from injuries he suffered when his motorcycle was hit by a vehicle yesterday afternoon. Joshua Higgs was life-flighted from the accident scene to Vanderbilt Medical Center, where police report he passed away in the early morning hours this morning. Police say the accident occurred when a 29-year-old Woodlawn woman pulled out in front of Higgs' motorcycle as she was turning left off of Man of War Road and crossing the eastbound lanes of Tinytown Road. Higgs, who was wearing a helmet, was ejected off of his motorcycle and landed on the roadway and suffered multiple injuries to his head and body. According to police, the 29-year-old woman was uninjured and cited for failure to yield. An Ohio County Sheriff's deputy has been suspended until an investigation is completed into allegations he tried to beat to death an injured dog to end in suffering. Ohio County Sheriff David Thompson told us today that Deputy Randy Taylor has been suspended with pay until the prosecutor decides if he will bring charges against him. Last week on June 28th, the Kentucky Transportation Road Crew were called about a dog that had been hit by a car on Highway 62 between Beaver Dam and McHenry. Once on the scene, the road crew alleged that Deputy Taylor tried to beat the dog to end its suffering. The road crew thought the dog was dead and buried it in a shallow grave, but the next day it was found alive, up and walking around. Sheriff Thompson says an internal and criminal investigation is being conducted to see if Deputy Taylor improperly handled the situation. He says Taylor has been a deputy with his department for 5 years. 2 Fort Campbell soldiers have been arrested and charged in connection to an armed robbery at a Clarksville pharmacy on July 4th. Spokesman Officer Jim Knoll reports 26-year-old David Preston Saunders of Fort Campbell was arrested today after he was positively identified in a lineup as the suspect who robbed the Walgreens on Wilma Rudolph Boulevard at gunpoint on Independence Day. Saunders was charged with aggravated robbery and booked into the Montgomery County Jail on a $100,000 bond. In addition, police arrested and charged another local soldier, 22-year-old Casey Robert DeGroot, as an accessory after the fact in connection to the robbery at Walgreens after he admitted that he drove Saunders to the pharmacy. DeGroot was also booked into the Montgomery County Jail on a $100,000 bond. Police believe that Saunders is also the same man that may have been involved in 2 other pharmacy robberies in Clarksville over the July 4th holiday weekend, and they are continuing to investigate those cases. Well, we now have a few more details of a story we first reported last night at 10 regarding a police investigation into the death of a 3-year-old girl in Oak Grove. Police spokesman Lieutenant Adam Vandercoat told Source16 today that the father of the little girl told police that his daughter was taking a bath when she slipped in the bathtub and hit her head. According to the report, Oak Grove police received a medical call Saturday morning around 10:45 for a 3-year-old girl that was unconscious and barely breathing at a home on Pembroke Oak Grove Road. Emergency personnel transported the little girl to Blanchfield Army Community Hospital on Fort Campbell, and then she was airlifted to Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville, where she died the following morning. Lieutenant Vandercoat says anytime a child dies, the police department conducts a death investigation. However, in this case, he says the father's story didn't add up. According to the lieutenant, Oak Grove detectives have met with the toddler's mother, who is stationed at Fort Knox. Currently, police are awaiting autopsy results from the state medical examiner's office in Nashville. At this time, police are withholding all names until all notifications have been made. A Montgomery County judge sentenced 2 Nashville men to 12 years in prison each for the November 2009 murder of a 25-year-old Special Forces sergeant. Montgomery County Judge John Gassaway sentenced 21-year-olds Montez Hall and Frank Beasley for facilitation of second-degree murder and facilitation to commit attempted second-degree murder. On November 12, 2009, police reported that Sergeant Brian Hasty was shot and killed when he was leaving a Fort Campbell club. On November 12, 2009, police reported that Sergeant Brian Hasty was shot and killed when he was leaving a Fort Campbell club. A Hopkinsville business will be contracting with the U.S. Army to provide language assistance, according to the Department of Defense. Link Government Services, LLC, was awarded a $9.7 million contract to provide foreign language services in support of the Department of Defense Language Interpretation and Transition Enterprise Program. The bid was solicited online with 11 companies applying for the contract. According to the release, the work location will be determined with each task order with an estimated completion date of June 27, 2016. If you or your child play baseball or softball, you could be affected by this recall. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and Mizuno USA Incorporated of Norcross, Georgia, are voluntarily recalling Mizuno's Supreme Series and Ballpark Pro baseball and softball gloves due to a variety of molds that could cause respiratory or other infections in individuals with chronic health problems or in individuals who have impaired immune systems. The ball gloves were sold at Walmart and Target stores nationwide from April 2010 through May of this year for between $24 and $60. Consumers should immediately stop using the gloves and contact Mizuno USA at 800-451-7913 to receive a full refund. A Fort Campbell woman charged with scamming a dozen people, including military families, is facing additional criminal charges. Clarksville Police today charged 25-year-old Stephanie Marie Jenkins Harrison with 6 additional counts of felony theft, bringing the total number of charges lodged against her to 10 counts. Hairston is accused of posting a McClarty Road property online for rent and then collecting the deposits from multiple people. A two-vehicle wreck on the Breathitt Pennyroyal Parkway earlier today injured a Hopkins County teen. 18-year-old Stephen Kyle of Madisonville was transported to Regional Medical Center after state police say his vehicle was rear-ended when he did not yield the right-of-way to a vehicle driven by 49-year-old Stephen Morris of Crofton. State police say Kyle entered the parkway at the Madisonville interchange and continued to cross both lanes of traffic, which caused Morris's vehicle to hit Kyle's vehicle in the rear. Police say Kyle's vehicle traveled off the road into the median while Morris's vehicle came to rest in the emergency lane. Authorities report Morris was not injured in the wreck and both parties were wearing their seat belts. Now here is Hopkinsville Christian County Crime Stoppers Coordinator Officer Paul Ray with the featured fugitives of the week.
This week, police need your help locating two wanted fugitives.
Police are looking for 50-year-old Shelby Robert Edmonds, who's wanted for probation violation. Edmonds is a black male who stands 6 feet tall and weighs 220 pounds. His last known address was the 2400 block of Canton Street. Police are also looking for 28-year-old Tommy David Powers, who's wanted on multiple felony charges. Powers is a white male who stands 6 feet, 4 inches tall and weighs 300 pounds. His last known address was the 400 block of Cave Street.
If you know where police can locate these wanted fugitives, and we've got cash waiting for you, pick up your phone now and call our tips line at 887-TIPS. If your information leads to an arrest, Crime Stoppers will pay you a cash reward. And remember, we will never ask your name, and you will not have to appear in court. Well, this week's Fugitive of the Week, I'm Officer Paul Ray for Crime Stoppers.